the third world, or the so-called third world, is caught in a very vicious situation, a trap that we almost cannot get out of.
The tremendous danger is that we may carry old habits of thinking and experiences into a completely new situation for which we are not prepared.
We live in one world, and that, no man is an island, that what diminishes any part of this global community diminishes us all.
Photographs like these have come to define for us what we call the third world, the developing world. This program contains some of what's missing from these images we carry. The stories of creativity, heroism, the spark of change. These are a series of dispatches with the words and thoughts of these men and women themselves, how the world looks through their eyes.
We need people to begin to see the relationship between their own lives and the lives of other people in far-off countries in a different context, a context that calls attention to our common humanity and the way in which our lives are linked.
If children die in Malawi, or pregnant women are dying because they have no possibilities of Planned Parenthood in Mexico City, then this affects the well-being of Bostonians and Washingtonians and people in Germany.
Soviet Union, Peru, anywhere. We are more tightly woven as a social fabric, if you wish, because of the power of communications, the power of global finance, of global trade, of global production, and this globalization process that we see all the time really put us together and have created a global order.
The world has changed. People in every country now live in what has become a single economy. Rich and poor countries alike find themselves trying to understand how to improve standards of living in a world where trade has become a necessity. In Jamaica, we'll see how a businesswoman manages to compete in the world market.
Sometimes you feel like you just throw in the towel and forget about the industry. But then the next day you come back and you say, I've got to try again, and it's for the good, it's for my children, it's for the next generation, because we must have production in our country.
In Ghana, we'll learn about chocolate and where debt and trade collide.
Right now, even as the price of cocoa is collapsing, has collapsed, in Europe, North America, Japan, in the developed countries, those who like chocolate are not paying any less for it. The price of chocolate is either the same or is going up, while the price of cocoa is going down.
In Geneva, we'll learn how high the stakes are for poor countries as they bargain with rich countries.
The more you sell, the better price you sell at, the greater are your prospects for financing the kind of industrial, agricultural, social development that our countries need, and which are, of course, the underpinning of the democratic system.
There are 129 developing countries. They are also called the Third World, the South. For 40 years, they have struggled to win a place in the global order, to develop. Their success or failure is connected to us, even at the most local level.
Holy mackerel. Well, I think I'll take that and I'll keep him. That is a nice beat. Man, oh man. Those things will make some bucks. I've heard a lot of times the old timers come along and saying, boy, you know, when we get done getting this farm paid for, we're going to quit growing those sugar beets. Yeah, that's a crazy statement to make, I always thought, because if that was making you that much money, you better keep on doing it. And that's what I always did. I thought something was going to make me some money, I'm going to keep on doing it.
Hank Schaefer grows about 400 acres of sugar beets. 1/4 of all American sugar comes from beets. The rest come from corn sweetener and sugar cane. The U.S. protects its sugar farmers from foreign competition. These days, that protection is being questioned, and American sugar farmers are reacting.
The American public has never went hungry. Now, I'm not going to wish it on them, but if we had ever had to go through famines and starvation like the other countries, then your status as an American farmer would be a hell of a lot higher. The Japanese, the farmers have political clout.
Well, our sugar program was set up specifically to not cost the taxpayer anything. But from the beginning of it, it has not cost the taxpayer. Now, somebody misquoted that the other day, said it didn't cost the consumer. It may cost the consumer a dime or two. Taxpayer as per se, it does not cost a dime, and it's spelled out in law that it cannot.
It's not grown in excess in the United States. We still import a lot of sugar. How much corn do we import? How much wheat do we import?
60.
I mean, these are the things you have to look at. That's the only commodity that's grown that we still have to import. And we're getting kicked around because they think we're making a fortune on it.
Sugar farmers aren't making a fortune, but they are getting a high price guaranteed by the government. American consumers pay for that protection in their food bills. It adds up to an extra $3 billion a year at the supermarket. The government's sugar policy has some curious side effects, because sugar doesn't just come from beets and cane. If the price is high enough, you can make it from corn, and that's what's happened over the last decade. Good prices for beet farmers have led to twice as much corn sweetener being produced, so imports have fallen. From a developing country's perspective, American sugar policies have been devastating, and European sugar policy is worse. Europe actually grows more sugar than it consumes and sells the surplus on the world market at low cost, undercutting most third world farmers. In the Philippines, a traditional cane exporter, production has fallen by 50%, and 250,000 workers are unemployed. The Philippines are only one of over a dozen countries which have been affected by American and European sugar policies.
I visited with some people the other day, and they were asking me about this farm bill, whether or not I could live without the farm bill. And I foolishly said yes, I could live without the farm bill if the whole world didn't have anything. But then I went ahead and expounded on the fact that if it hadn't been for the farm bill, that I'd been out of business if I hadn't had the farm bill for the last 3 or 4 years.
For 60 years, farmers have had a farm bill looking out for their interests. The Farm Bill is a collection of laws that guarantee farmers a steady income and that ensure the country a reliable food supply. The price of this protection is high, $30 billion a year in higher taxes. But the Farm Bill is what American farmers think they need to compete in global trade.
No, you can't compete with third world labor. No, they can actually, with 30 cent an hour labor, you
Everybody in the
can't.
whole world getting a grant or a subsidy or something of some sort.
And I disagree with your dad there a little bit, that we can't compete against the third wheel farmer. I think the American farmer can wipe anybody off the map as far as producing food.
Modern technology and scientific know-how don't always make American farmers the world's most cost-efficient producers. In this part of Colorado, farmers grow both corn and sugar beets, two crops that epitomize the extremes of American agriculture. U.S. corn is exported to dozens of countries and is traded on the world market. The United States is good at growing corn. On the other hand, the United States isn't very cost-efficient at growing sugar. Labor, equipment, and overhead are all more expensive than in the developing world. Without the government program, American farmers might grow much less sugar.
How about some coffee and some rolls? Hi, Matt.
Good morning.
You all done for the day?
Hell no.
Oh.
I mean, heck no. No. No.
Well, it don't look like it's going to rain anyway, does it?
Frank and Jerry Breidenbach, third-generation Colorado farmers, grow both sugar beets and corn. These days, trying to survive at family farming means dealing with both government regulations and world markets.
Hello.
Morning.
Like I went home and set the water.
Corn's up a penny, Frankie. We're still hanging right around this 225 mark. We're at 225 and a half.
Well, how about that?
How soon should we buy 100,000 bushel of it?
Our crop reports today. I don't know what the government will do to it.
That means it's going to go down some more?
I think we should be up tomorrow, but I think we got to wait till after this report's over, and if it is positive, then I think we can just go in and buy it.
There's some awful good corn back there. I've been back.
Farmers like the Breidenbachs are under pressure these days. Until now, they've relied on the Farm Bill to protect them and help them compete in the world. But the rules of the game are about to change.
You know, our lowest pick, Frankie's 18 and a half.
There's a possibility that soon, instead of being set by law in Washington, farm policy will be shaped by international agreement. This is Geneva, Switzerland, a town that looms large in the lives of American farmers these days. They have been called the least known and most important negotiations in the world. The GATT, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, defines the rules of trade for almost every single manufactured item that is bought or sold between countries. The GATT is a series of negotiated agreements that define what is fair in world trade. At GATT headquarters in Geneva, delegates from over 100 countries are gathering for a new round of talks.
16h20. Oh là là. Attends. 16h20. Départ.
Julio Lacarte from Uruguay is the senior developing country delegate. He has been involved in almost every round of negotiations since the GATT was founded in 1948.
Out of this negotiation, it has been said, we'll get world trade for the year 2000 and for the years 2020 as well. So it's something that's going to be felt for many years to come.
The principle of free trade has been one of the most successful economic ideas of the century. Europe, Japan, and the United States have all become more dependent on trade for their prosperity.
Hello, how are you? How are you? Good to see you, sir. Good to see you again.
All the countries, rich and poor alike, are willing to make some sacrifices in Geneva if they can walk away from the table with a better chance at the world market.
You can take every single country in the round, and every single one of them will give you a pretty detailed list of exactly what liberalization moves it wants from other participants to favor its own exports. Inevitably, when you ask someone for something, they will ask you for something, and then we come into the area of reciprocity and of bargaining back and forth.
The goal is to work out fair trading rules for more and more products, from banking services to books to computer software. The most difficult negotiations are over agriculture. International trade in agriculture is extremely complex and often inefficient because of a maze of quotas, subsidies, and special agreements. Bringing agriculture under GATT rules would begin to change all that.
This round has become really a turning point on this issue. It's now or never, really, and I think that agricultural exporting countries will gauge the results of the round by what happens on agriculture.
The big